weekend racing. It's time to recap it. And who better to do it than Michael and Magic? Two bros/pros who cover the highs and lows of racing around the globe on every one of their shows. Real fans look forward to these guys and their last stunts, cause they know they're not talking out of their royal ascot. What they say makes sense. So ladies and gents, sit back and relax as Blinkers Off presents The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.
What's up, everybody? I'm Magic. That's Aaron Halterman. He doesn't play these games. This is the Magic Mike Show, episode 344. Aaron, do you at least want to say the hello?
Hello.
You're supposed to say huzzah. You always like to say huzzah. No huzzah. Listen, hellos, huzzahs, we're saving all this shit for, listen, Mike's not here. Mike's on a flight. Actually, he should be back home by now, back in Raleigh, North Carolina. Nice. Reports this morning were that he did not remember getting on the airplane from Vegas to Charlotte at 6 a.m. He kind of woke up in the Charlotte airport confused where he was.
Is that the truth? Is that a true statement?
I was not texted that, but a verifiable source that we can all trust told me that he was texted that. So
was it this guy?
It may have been that guy who is driving back from Las Vegas. Dr. Tang, being a doctor, medical doctor, didn't want to get on an airplane right now, so he's doing the 4-hour trip from Vegas back to LA, which on a Monday, not terrible. I understand that the Hoffmans actually did drive back last night, and driving from Vegas to LA on a Sunday, you've got 2 lanes of traffic, Aaron, and half the damn city all go in the same direction. So it's hell. I don't ever recommend doing it.
Doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound good at all. You know what? I think Mike deserves it. He deserves a day off. He deserves to have a little fun. It's amazing. Friday night, he texts me, and he's like, it didn't go well today. He's like, I'm at 0. It's like, you know what? I don't even feel bad for you. You'll come back. I know you will. We were on the live stream, and he was like, okay, now he's 500. Now he's 300. I think we left. He was 278. And I said, don't give up on him. And bam, he makes the final day. And then he gets a cap horse at Oaklawn and makes the final table. He stalls out in 7th. I say stalls out very loosely. He's a huge winner on this weekend. It was a fantastic run. So much fun to follow it. And, for what, a day and a half, it was just like, he at least he's there. And then it's like, holy shit, he may do something here. Again, surprise to nobody, but he deserves a day off.
It's very eerily reminiscent of when he and I were there 2 years ago. It's the last trip I took before COVID was to Vegas for NHC, and it was the same thing. The first day he fired pretty much. He didn't do as poorly as he did this year. This year he spotted the field, everything. He started with nothing on day 2. But he won day 2, which I didn't know this, but the prize for having the most earnings of anybody for day 2, whether you qualify for day 3 or not, is that you get a BC berth. So he's already got his first step to the BC. So very excited for the guy. Again, like 2 years ago, he went into Saturday and he was like, he's going to take some shots at some bombs and see what connects. And Golden Gate qualified him for day 3 both times. I love that it was the last race at Golden Gate. Get it home, and it's Mike Somich's special. There's something about Mike and Golden Gate. I don't know.
Well, what was really funny is there were 4, I think, Sam Houston races on the table, the final table, right. and a couple people tweeted and they said, Sam Houston, it's over. He's got it. But the problem was it wasn't like normal Sam Houston races. They were the stakes races, and they got a little chalky. He was down like $80 or $90 from first with like 7 races, the last 7 races. Really, really tough. I mean, really tough to come back from that with 7 races. And then, chalk came in on a lot of them, and that kind of sucked. But again, I told him, going into Sunday, I said, you've won. This is unbelievable. This is like coming, back from 40 points down in basketball at the half and getting it into overtime. But the problem was he would get into overtime and he would have to be way behind, and then he would, tie it. Now it's double overtime and he's still way behind. It was just he never could quite get going up to that top spot. But again, it's just an incredible run to go from 0 to the final table. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, I was very happy for him. Jason wants to know if I just woke up. No, this is the sad thing is I actually purposely did this. So if you think it looks that bad, it's...
I think it looks great. Don't listen to him. It looks great.
It looks better than it usually does. Trust me. If you think this is bad, you should see me on our work call tomorrow that we have. They got pushed to tomorrow because Mike's still drunk today. So
that'll be bad.
Listen, obviously the best thing that we saw was Mike Somich at NHC and the performance. Aaron encapsulated it pretty well. We're going to save all that talk for Thursday. Mike is going to be back. We might have to do a special just NHC show because I feel like the amount of stuff that he's going to have to talk about. Yeah. So I'll actually talk to Mike about doing that. Be a special one. You guys can ask some questions, anything you want to know about his experience or something. But Aaron and I, we get to talk about Pegasus World Cup, which you and I have talked about several times now. I feel like we did the live stream on Saturday, which was a lot of fun. Thank you for everybody who joined us. We've got, over 2,000 people, over 2,000 views now with that live stream. So that was exciting. But Aaron, we're going to talk about Pegasus World Cup. You don't care about all the hoopla on this show. So
no,
you don't. So we're just going to riders up, blah, 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 pretend that I did the transition. Did you see, I literally, as we went live, I pulled up DRF. Dr. Shivel's going to the Golden Shaheen. We were talking about who's going to go to Dubai and go to that sprint because it's wide open. They're going to send Dr. Shivel. That's
interesting. I think he makes sense there. I don't really know what happened last time out. I think he broke bad, got outran a little bit. But that's interesting.
He had a bad temperature.
Did he really?
Yeah, he was like, his temperature was like through the roof the next day.
Oh, okay. That makes even more sense now. I think he makes a ton of sense. I mean, this horse runner-up at the Breeders' Cup sprint, and gosh, almost got it. I mean, really deserved to win it. So, yeah, it makes sense. I like that for him. That's a good race for him.
As be excited, I'm going to text my friend who is his breeder afterwards. But all right, let's look at so what Aaron and I were going to do. We're going to look at the Pegasus, the late pick four, basically, and talk about everything that we saw. We're going to start with the Pegasus World Cup Filly Mare Turf. This is formerly the Marshuas River Stakes. If I can get it to share here. Give me 1 second. Doesn't want to pop up. Give me 1 second, Aaron. Talk to me about, while I get the video pulled up, I know you can talk about this. Ricky, thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. Aaron, tell me about the Regal Glory, the Pegasus World Cup Filly Mare Turf, because in the live stream, if you go back and watch, it's kind of funny. From the start, Aaron and I were like, shit.
Well, we had so much on the line. At least I did. We both played the bankroll article, and it's just like, yeah, if this horse loses, we're not done by any means, but we're in trouble. We're in chase mode. Where if she wins, we're in really good shape. We just need to cash one or two more, and we're totally fine. And we don't cash any, we're still in not too bad a shape. So, we talked about it a lot. She's very versatile. She can win from all different kinds of places. I didn't imagine a situation where this horse would be like, second or third last, going up the backside. And that's why we were worried. It just, she really needs to be, at worst, third or fourth, in my opinion, to really run her best race. Well, that absolutely was wrong. She turned for home and Magic was screaming, and I was just like being real calm because I thought, okay, she made a big move, but is she going to flatten a little bit? That's what I was worried about. Thankfully, though, Magic, it was easy for her.
It was one of those moves that you saw what the horse was doing, and when the horse looks effortless, you and I think we do the same thing. We look straight at the jockey's hands, and when Jose Ortiz, bless him, wears white gloves, you always can see his hands. I love it. And his hands are just sitting there, and he's just kind of like riding on the neck, and that's why I started screaming, because I was like, we got it. I knew it.
Yeah, you're right. You pointed it out, and I thought about when you said it. He goes, he hadn't moved a muscle on this horse, and I thought, okay, if she's rounded the field and she's got up to like third, going that wide and did that effortlessly, if he just shakes the reins up a couple times, she should have another kick, and thankfully she did. You see it up on the screen now. This was just when this happened, it's like, oh God, yeah, I was cringing. And I don't remember what you said, Magic, but you were like, oh shit, or something like that,
Yeah, I'm sure that's exactly what I said. She got pushed back, and I was like, she's second last. I know she doesn't need to be on the lead, but on that turf course too. If we're in New York, I'm like, it's a Chad Brown horse on the turf. She'll close, but Gulfstream, his horses don't always do that.
Yeah, and that was a real worry for me too. It's like I could see what's going to happen here. She's going to make a move, and like I was worried about when they hit the top of the stretch, flatten out a little bit. But it was a situation. No matter how you handicapped it, she just kind of looked better than the rest of them. Like, okay, I'm a class handicapper. Let's say she's classier than the rest of them. I'm a speed handicapper. Well, she is just kind of faster than the rest of them. I'm a guy that looks on projected trips. Well, she's tactical. She got a shitty trip here, kind of, but she's tactical enough that you don't really think she's going to have a bad trip. So she was just a little better than the rest of them, and she showed it. I mean, just a blowout win when she got rolling.
I froze on this image. If you're listening to the podcast, I'm sorry, I'll try to describe it. But basically, live on the replay or live in the race, a lot of the jockeys had GoPros on, and so TVG would shift to them. So this is Jose Ortiz on Regal Glory, and like down the backside, you get a really good shot of like what he has to try and work through just to even get her clear. So at this point, I was still like, God, no, this is not a good spot. And I thought that Sweet Melania, who's sitting there right in front of her, was just going to keep her at bay the whole time. I thought Regal Glory would get second and make a nice move, but I was so afraid Sweet Melania was going to be too quick. And it turns out, I think Sweet Melania is still trying to finish this race.
No, but Magic, off the backside, you made a really good point. I thought you were really good during races on the live show. Not to brag on you too much, but I thought you were fantastic on that show. And you made a point that was very good. He goes, you said right here, he said, the problem is Sweet Melania has the jump on her. And that's the horse that she's going to have trouble getting by. Now, it didn't come to be, but at the time you said it, it kind of felt that way. And now you see Sweet Melania is nowhere to be found. And right here, it's like, okay, it's just going to be a big-time performance by a horse that, this isn't like an elite horse, but this is a really damn good horse, right? She's really, really good.
So the news with her is that after this race, she was supposed to go be bred into Mischief, and then the way she'd been training and the way she just ran, they kind of went, we might keep her in training another year, so we might get her for a full another season, which would be pretty awesome. If not, a nice set of 3 races for her to end her career on. She was owned formerly by Paul Pompa Jr., and when he passed, Peter Brandt bought her, but Chad Brown, always the trainer. So it's nice to see that at the end of her career, she's finally getting the grade 1 and big purse attention. Any other horses you want to talk about from there? Are you ready to move on?
I mean, I think the other, like, the horses like Shifty She, they ran okay, but just not up to that level. And that's what that race was kind of filled with, those kinds. And then Regal Glory dropped in there. So I think we're good.
You could tell that this was a grade 3 race before they changed the name of it, so they're not going to just bump it up to grade 1. So it was a grade 3 field, but then you have the name Pegasus and the $500,000 purse, and that's why Regal Glory's there. So maybe that combination, we're looking at a grade 2 next year. So
I think some people maybe saw Regal Glory and thought, oh, this is a Pegasus race. Regal Glory's okay, but she's probably not good enough to win like a race like this, and maybe didn't look at the field as a whole and go, oh, wait. This is like a true grade 3 field. And this is a grade 1 horse in this grade 3 field. So, yeah.
I thought that, so I didn't use her in the Magic Mike Show ticket that I did with Barry Spears, which again, thanks to Barry for being on. That was a very highly watched show too, which was awesome. But I really thought that she was going to get second. And when Sweet Melania in that trip was sitting where she was, I thought everything's playing out exactly like I thought it was going to. So since I also bet the Live Bankroll article, which said put a lot of money on Regal Glory, I still made out okay on this one, but it's also, like I told you, I said that's the reason why you're the guy that built this site from the ground up, and your name is on my paychecks, right?
Sure. Yeah, okay. We'll go with
something like that. Let's talk about the Fred Hooper Stakes because, again, a grade 3 race, but some big heavy hitters in here. You got Fearless on the Rail, who was the 6-5 favorite, but he's cutting back, a horse that probably better suited for 2 turns if he wasn't Life is Good stablemate with Todd Pletcher. So he's here in this race. Speaker's Corner, the 8 horse, it was one that, again, in the guide, was play this horse to win, and it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, he was close to 2-1 with a couple minutes to post. Got bet down right as they went to the gate in 6-5, and then one of those situations where he actually floated up a little bit and went off at 3-2. So that was nice. This was a really great performance, I thought. I don't think it could be overstated. This was a really sharp effort from a horse that should have a pretty big year ahead of him. This was a situation, another really good call by you when they came into the stretch. You go, no, Fearless can't get him. This is exactly what I was worried about. 1 turn, I don't think Fearless was going to be able to catch that horse, and he couldn't. Fearless ran a fantastic race, though. I think it sets him up. I think he's a grade 3 type. I don't really think he's like a superstar of any kind, but I think Speaker's Corner is one that might be able to move up and take on grade 1 company again.
So he last time out we saw him trying to go 2 turns at Aqueduct and got beat by Miles D. It was a Chad Brown horse that is a Curlin, going to be 4 years old this year. Should probably be a major player in the older dirt stakes in New York. Speaker's Corner was right there with him, and I think with more seasoning and time, Speaker's Corner maybe could turn the tables on him. But do you think this is ultimately a horse that's going to be best suited at a 1-turn mile, or can he handle 2 turns pretty well?
Well, we've seen him do both pretty well. That, like you said, that last race you mentioned, that wasn't too bad of a race from him. He just got beat by Miles D. Miles D was 3rd in the Travers. Miles D is a pretty nice horse. The one thing I will say, though, I think his absolute best performances have been in 1 turns. And I don't necessarily think 6 furlongs, the 7 furlongs and the 1-turn miles, that looks pretty darn good for this horse. It kind of hits him right between the eyes. It just kind of depends on what their goals are. I think he can be effective at 2 turns, but maybe the elite quote status if he can get to that level. I'm not saying he's quite there yet. I think he's very good, but if he's going to be a big time winner, maybe it is going to be in those like longer 1-turn races.
So next races for these horses, Fearless won the Gulfstream Park Mile last year. He will likely wheel back for that one. That's next month. Speaker's Corner could go to Dubai. We were talking Golden Shaheen. I also forgot there's the Godolphin Mile, and he's owned by Godolphin. So a 1-turn dirt mile. He's got forward speed, which is killer at Dubai. You could see him go there. Would you rather see him go there, or do you want to see him stay home and maybe face Flightline and Life is Good?
Well, if you put it that way, I think I'd rather go to Dubai. It would be a good spot for him. I don't think the Dubai World Cup is a good spot for him, but I do think that race would be good. I said on the live stream, if I was them, and again, I wasn't thinking about who owned him. I was thinking if I had him, which is not the case. So this doesn't right. even really matter. But I would say, okay, the Met Mile is in June. Let's just work backwards from that to get him to where he's really revving to go for that race. But, with them owning him, they've probably got other plans in mind, and far be it for me to question that. They've had a little bit more success with horses than I have. So we'll see what happens. If he stays in America, the Met Mile seems to be the play, but who could blame him if they go over there for the money in Dubai?
It'd be interesting to see what happens. Bill Mott has shipped overseas before, so not afraid to do it again. Tacitus was he sent over with Riley Mott, so I'm sure if they want to go, Godolphin being I'm sure Riley's going to go with him. Yep. Let's talk Pegasus World Cup here. World Cup Turf. Colonel Liam defense. Colonel Liam heard all this shit everybody talked about him, and he said, "Okay, I'll do a career best 102 buyer off of this layoff. Everybody thinks I don't got this. Watch this." Big old middle finger. His stablemate Never Surprised set the pace, almost held on, and he also pops a career best 100 buyer there. What did you think about this race and Colonel Liam off the bench?
I still think he was beatable here. I don't think he ran a top effort. I think he ran very well. I don't want to take anything away from this horse. I thought he was solid, really solid. I don't think he ran quite as well as he did last year in this race. I think it was there for the taking for somebody if they jumped up and ran a pretty good race that they could have beat him on this day. I just don't think this field was good enough. A tone was right there. A lot of people liked him. We kind of liked him a little bit. Does he really have an excuse? I don't think so. He was right there with a chance. Space Traveler, it was not a good trip. Probably could have won that race with a better trip. Still not as good as Colonel Liam, I don't think, but could have maybe caught him on that day with the perfect trip.
Chris Morales says Jamie Spencer's as useful as a poopy flavored lollipop. That's one of my favorite quotes from that whole movie. I feel like that's an underrated quote from Dodgeball.
That it is really good. I'll first of all give you credit for that. Secondly, it stung because you did get the feeling that turn of foot could have won, right? Mm-hmm. It would have had to been a pretty good trip. I don't think he could have gotten hardly any trouble and won. But if he would have gave him a flawless ride, I think he would have won. And it really kills you because that's the race you just were dying. You had to beat a favorite if you're playing multis like a lot of us were. Once he won, it's like, well, this is done. Like that's over. So Space Traveler, we definitely needed him. And he just couldn't get the job done. And on this comment, he broke well and strangled. Yeah, he needed to be in better position. I'm not arguing that at all. the biggest thing is, though, he just needed to get him out in the open for the stretch. I still think he would have won. And again, not arguing. I would have loved to have seen him mid-pack instead of second to last. I still think he would have won the damn race if he just would have gave him a lane. He was weaving in and out of traffic. He got stuck. He dove to the inside. I mean, to me, that was the thing that really put it over the top. But, I mean, what are you going to do? Credit to Colonel Liam. He was a little more tactical and was able to kind of just get position and get first run. Never surprised, ran a good race. I think you could take that horse serious going forward. But yeah, frustrating. But Colonel Liam ran a very good race.
He never surprised it was his first time facing older horses too, and I thought that especially he took a nice step forward. So he's someone, especially with the Gulfstream Park turf, the way it plays, if he gets a lone speed, especially goes back to New York, plenty of ways you can use that horse and maybe single him. He'll be a shorter price in a couple areas. Atone, I thought, ran very well. Space Traveler, you touched on. It was frustrating because it felt like this was the shot to beat him. Colonel Liam has proven that unless your name is domestic spending, you really can't stop him. So I think as long as he doesn't keep facing domestic spending, who still, I believe, is at the farm right now. So
yeah,
I don't know.
It's weird. It's weird with domestic spending. Where did he go? And what's the plan? This would have been a great race for him, but obviously he's not ready. I mean, that's the only thing I could guess.
Whatever happened at the Breeders' Cup still bothering him. Yeah, he's still no recorded works, but maybe they're going to prep him for New York, and now they don't have to worry about trying to win at Arlington. So
yeah, that's true. One more point on Never Surprised.
Yep.
Since Christopher brought that up, let's not forget he had to break from the 12, and he had to be rushed out of there. And that horse didn't lose by very much. So if he had a decent post and didn't have to be rushed quite as hard to get that lead. You never know. I mean, they did a great job getting him to the lead. They saved the ground. They did the only thing they could do. I'm not being critical of the ride. That's perfect. But just circumstance, tough draw. He may have won that thing with a better draw.
Well, one race that we thought the draw may have changed to one and definitely didn't affect it. The Pegasus World Cup. Talk about a race that was so exciting going into it. And then from the break, it was about 5 seconds in, Aaron, and this race was kind of over. We were excited. We had Life is Good, the wagering guide, live bankroll. Everything said play Life is Good to win. Use Stiletto Boy and the Exotics. Great call from you. You called that from the reaction video when we looked at the draw. So congrats. But talk me through Life is Good in the Pegasus World Cup.
I mean, this was like going into a Super Bowl or going into a championship game and the two teams look really equal and then one team doesn't show up and it's a blowout, right? I'm thrilled for us that we bet Life is Good and we picked Life is Good. We won. I hate it for the fanboy I am of Nick's Go because he just didn't ever get a chance. They weren't aggressive with him out of the gate. They were of Life is Good. I thought Life is Good might lead by a length at the most. He's like 8 in front. I mean, you could just never dream this scenario. I was in shock watching this. It was just like, I can't believe I'm going to see this horse win by 8-9 lengths, and it's because he never was challenged on the front end. Like, I thought there was a scenario he could blow out the field if Nick's Go quit. But Nick's Go didn't quit. He credit him for getting second in this race. Yeah. It's just unexplainable. And you might even think, well, maybe Life is Good was just too fast. Well, look at Nick's Go in relation to the rest of the field and think of where he's been in the relation of the rest of the field in all of his races this year. And look at him here. Like, Endorsed is next to him, for God's sakes. Like, he's 15 lengths ahead of Endorsed in all these other races he was at. Whether it be if Endorsed was at the Breeders' Cup, if Endorsed was at the Whitney, the Lucas Club, wherever. He's welcome. I mean, he just didn't kick clear of the rest of them. It was so weird.
Yeah, it was odd. And I'm looking at, I paused it on this shot if you're listening to the podcast, going into the top of the far turn, and there's a good 4, 5, 8, 10. I'm not good. There's a shit ton of lengths between Life is Good and the rest of the field. And if I told you, Aaron, that in this race, guaranteed, the Pegasus World Cup, hitting the top of the far turn, one horse has a 6-length lead, we'll call that, on the rest of the field. Which favorite do you think it is? Are you picking Life is Good?
Yeah, I would have.
You would have? Okay.
Yeah, because I wouldn't have thought that, well, It's easier to say now, I guess. Yeah, I think I would have, because I thought he was capable of running faster than Nick's Go, but I didn't know if he would, And honestly, when he flew out there, before the fractions came up, I thought in my head he might be running like 21 this opening quarter. And when I saw it was a 23 and 46 half, and he's 8 in front, I thought, what world are we living in right now? So no, I still would have guessed Life is Good would have been the one with that huge lead, but I would have given you like 200 to 1 that he would have been. You know what I mean? Like if I had to pick one, it would be him. But no way could I envision that happen. No.
At what point, let me ask you this, at what point realistically did you feel that we had won this race? Because it's, sometimes people will say, oh, like, at the quarter pole I had it. Some people are superstitious, and it's literally like you got to cross the wire. So you personally, when you watched this race, when did you know we had it won?
On the turn, the first turn. I did, because listen,
I'll play at the beginning, and you tell me when to stop, and
I'll tell you when to pause it. Yeah, I was right here. I thought, okay, he's gonna win, but that's not when I was like real confident.
For me, it was when he got Stiletto Boy right there. When I saw that, and he's got Stiletto Boy easily clear, I was like, we got it. There's no way.
Probably keep it going right here.
Okay.
So about the same, because the other factor here it was, Stiletto Boy is in second. Nick's Go's not even in second at this point. Now, again, I'll give Nick's Go credit. He didn't get it all the kind of trip he wanted, and he still got second in this race. It could be because these other horses aren't very good. Like he beat Stiletto Boy from here to California the last time they faced, and now he beat him by like a half or whatever it was. So,
not to trash Stiletto Boy, because I think he's fun, especially I'm excited to see what he's going to do as for in California, but it's kind of like Higher Power, where Higher Power wins the Pacific Classic, and then, oh man, he got third in the Awesome again, and he's looking pretty good. He goes second in that and third in the Breeders' Cup, and then he did shit afterwards, and it's like, well, maybe everybody else just sucked, and Higher Power was the best of the horses that sucked, so, yeah. Not to trash Stiletto Boy, but...
I think we know what he is. We said it. At least I said it when we did the reaction. Yeah, he's not great, but he's proven that he can be in a race of this caliber and not be embarrassing, and that's what he is. Now, can he go win? Grade 2, grade 3 out in California, maybe. But I think he's not ever going to beat like a great horse. But yeah, I mean, the whole race, it's just like, is this a dream? Like, this was not supposed to be this easy. Like, I was supposed to be nervous the whole way around. And Michael said on the turn, he turned to his wife, said it's over. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, this is the easiest bet I've ever cashed, and that's Nick's Go that he's beating. It was unreal. It was like a dream.
That we thought was probably the second easiest cash that we had the whole Breeders' Cup weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
Rad's gonna I love that he just looks. He goes, nope. Okay, I'm just gonna start petting him. We're at the 16th pole. Pet.
Yeah, I like that too. And listen, if I would have bet Nick's Go, I can't even imagine what the live stream would have been. I would have been so mad, because I get like how it broke and how it unfolded. It's like, uh-oh. But wouldn't you thought at the backside, maybe, just maybe, I should try to get a little closer to him? Or no, just let him do it. Just let him.
Well, okay, so counterpoint, maybe there isn't that gear on Nick's Go, because we talk about how he's like a machine. You put him on the front end and he just goes and goes and goes and goes. Maybe he doesn't have that shit, someone passed me, I need to go. He just is in that mindset, right? Nobody's ever challenged him like this before. And it's like Chris said, what should the Breeders' Cup horses that ran scared from contesting Nick's Go's pace be thinking?
Well, exactly.
Oops.
They trained. Hot Rod Charlie was a horse that I don't think he could have went and got him without being ridden along, but he had the ability to get up there. Hell, they trained him for a month behind a wall of horses, just trying to get him to sit off because they were so scared. And yeah, now they're going to be thinking, oh, okay. And you might be right. Nick's Go is just a cruising speed. I'm going to run this one speed around the track. It just happens to be really, really fast. But he doesn't have that push, and now I can go grab this horse. And you know what? And that's what Life is Good has, I think. If he's sitting, if you watch it, if you're watching the screen or listening to the podcast, if he's sitting like 3/4 lengths off Nick's and they say, hey, go get him, I think he could do it.
Last thing I want to bring up, and I said it right on the live stream that Jose cut off Nick's go. Yep. I kept trying to clarify afterwards. I didn't think that he was purposely trying to set it up for Irad. I thought it was the right move for Jose. You want to try and win. You've got 2 4 to 5 favorites, and you've got a chance to take one out early, or at least put him off his game. I thought it was the right move. I thought it was good ridesmanship to give Stiletto Boy the best chance. Did you have any issue objectively with what Ortiz did?
I can see why people are saying what they're saying, because it's always speculation. If you looked at the past performances, if you looked at their early speed figures, it did make sense to ride him hard out of the gate and get position. And I think he would have been shocked if he would have said, or you would have told him, hey, you're going to ride hard out of the gate and you're going to get ahead of Nick's go on the first turn. He probably would have said, no, I'm not. I think he was just trying to get it. We talked about Stiletto Boy needs to run a race and it doesn't even think about the top 2, get in third, lead the rest of that group, and try to take that group gate to wire. And if one of those horses happens to fall back, or both, you can win or get second. But don't do anything dumb. And I think that's kind of what he did, you know? And it would be one thing if they were just flying out of there as fast as you could, and Life is Good ran a 21, and it's like, well, Stiletto Boy shouldn't be that close to him and running that fast. It's not like he was going that fast. He was just in a leisurely kind of pace there, and just so happened that he cut off Nick's go. But that's more on Nick's go or Joel, whoever you want to blame it on. Beat him to the turn. I mean, that's your fault. You've got the faster horse, so don't give me that. Oh, he did that on purpose stuff. He may have, but that's still your fault. You know, you're drawing inside of him too. You have no excuse.
I mean, it's Jose's job to go out there and try and win the race, and it's your job to try and stop him. It's kind of how I look at that.
Yeah.
All right, Aaron, that's enough for Pegasus. One more thing. I'll just add to that. The top 4 horses early were Life is Good, Nick's Ghost, Little Boy, Endorsed. That's how they went across. So it's not even like anybody was going to gang up on him. Let's move forward.
Hard to close into a slow pace, which is what we ended up getting.
Yeah. Let's talk about not a slow early pace. The San Vicente Stakes over at Santa Anita. Forbidden Kingdom taking on 3 Bafferts wearing all the same goddamn silks and everything. They don't even try to hide that they're all on the same team. 7-2, and I told you going into this race, I love the 2 to 5 favorite Doppelganger, the 4-horse, but I wasn't scared of the other Bafferts. I was scared of Forbidden Kingdom. He was working up a storm. He ran lights out early, and he was strong. So talk to me about the San Vicente.
Well, everybody thinks that Baffert horses, they gang up. One's a blocker, one's a this, one's a that. There's one way to get away from that, Magic. That's just get out in front of all of them. It'd be faster than them, and they can't touch you. And that's what Forbidden Kingdom did. I thought this was awesome. I thought this was the best performance by a 3-year-old of the weekend, at least it was a male. I just thought this was a fantastic effort from Forbidden Kingdom. Can he stretch out? I'm not real sure, but this horse was just really, really strong. And really, these Baffert horses, Magic, they weren't bad in this race. All the speed figures came back pretty good. They finished up pretty decent. It was just a situation. They chased Forbidden Kingdom the whole race. They had nothing to go get him when they got into the stretch. This horse needed to come back to him, and he didn't.
Let me hypothesize this, and it's purely hypothetical, but because I agree with your points. This is 7 furlongs, 1 turn. I would say all of those top 4 finishers, they're going to move forward because you got a 94 buyer for Forbidden Kingdom, and then the Bafferts got 90s and 89s. Newgrange got an 89 for winning the Southwest, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But if this race is at 2 turns, do we get the same result? Does Forbidden Kingdom, is that staying power because he didn't get pushed, can he go all the way around?
Well, and they just showed the gallop out on the replay you're talking about. The 2 horses that galloped out the best, McLaren Vale and Doppelganger. Look how they gallop out. They gallop out well ahead of the winner. Pinehurst did not gallop out very well, so take that for what you want. But, yeah, they're going to be a much tougher going longer because their pedigrees and kind of their running style suggest that they're going to be a little bit better going longer. Well, Forbidden Kingdom, the pedigree is very sketchy. I love speed going 2 turns, so I think he's got that on his side. That pedigree, I don't know if he really wants to go 2 turns or not. So I think they could turn the tables. I don't think they're quite as talented as him, but I think as the distances get longer, they're going to have a shot at it. Especially Doppelganger. I just felt like he chased the whole way. He's not a horse that's real precocious. He doesn't really want to get up there towards the front. but he doesn't want to be last. Like, I think mid-pack going 2 turns is where he'll eventually kind of end up.
So I had envisioned, and probably Baffert too, that if Doppelganger won this, the Rebel would be his next move. And I think I agree with you on your comments on his running style. He needs to get away from California in these 5-horse fields that Chris was joking about. You put him in a spot like the Southwest, for example, and I don't know if he necessarily beats Newgrange with that big field, but you give him a lot of pace and a lot of horses around. He's very competitive. You talked about the gallop out. He was still pretty far behind in the stretch, and then you see how they're going to cross the wire. Pretty much all the noses coming across like that. So I still like him moving forward, Doppelganger, especially the best of those 3 Bafferts. But I'm also biased, so I kind of need your take on this too.
Well, I feel like if the race was 7.5 furlongs, which we don't run that, but if it was, he probably would have got second. He still wouldn't have won. But it's just like he was just kind of getting going. I think that's a real good prep for him. I don't necessarily think this horse is like a monster or a beast, or I think he's good enough though. And you talked about Newgrange. We'll talk about him in a second, I'm sure. I don't think he's going back to Oaklawn after how that he ran over that track. He was not good over that track. I know he won, but he hated it. So Doppelganger would make a lot of sense to ship.
Congratulations to Spendthrift Farm, the Mandelas, my racehorse. If you guys want more insight on Forbidden Kingdom's effort here and for his pedigree analysis, Aaron and I recorded a video that'll be up on our YouTube channel at 1 p.m. Pacific. It's going to be debuting, so you can go over and check that out at youtube.com/racingdudes. Aaron, let's go over to Oaklawn, talk about the Southwest. We've talked about it enough. This race, but usually Bob Baffert ships and he wins, and he did it here. Boy, this was a rough one, and we joked how many times that Newgrange rebroke and still won, but was that because of he was rebreaking and it's the quote-unquote Baffert juice, or did he just beat a really bad field?
Yeah, I know everybody wants us to say, he was juiced and all that. I kind of feel bad for saying it on the live stream, because when you watch, I don't feel that bad, but when you watch this race back, sorry, Magic, but if you watch this race back, it feels a lot like and looks a lot like he just hated life out there. He really did. Now, he was able to win with the track that he hated, so maybe that where you could make that case. He hated this track. This field sucked. He just kind of finally started to find his footing in the stretch and just kind of passed him. That's the best way I could say it. This was not a good effort, but if you think he's on the up and up, it was kind of at least he won it. He showed a little something. He showed a little competitiveness down the stretch of saying, well, I hate what I'm running over, but I'm still going to go win type stuff. The biggest thing though is there's some horses that got some perfect trips here and couldn't finish the job, and it's because they're just not very good.
Is there anyone that you want out of this field, and in particular maybe somebody who had a bad trip, or someone? I know Ben Diesel coming into this race was someone you were really keen on playing because he got a much better draw. I
mean, it worked out too. He got a perfect trip. He got the trip we wanted. He rounded the corner and I was like, oh my God. What's that?
He's the one horse if everybody's watching.
Yeah, he rounded the corner and I'm like, he's going to win. We got this. And then he just stopped. And there's no reason for him to stop. He saved all the ground. The only horse I want out of it is Newgrange, and I don't think he's like great, but I don't think he's bad either. And I think if he gets back to Santa Anita, track that he likes, I think he'll run a lot better. The rest of these horses, put them in claimers. Honestly, I'm just done with them. I knew Dash Attack would suck in this race. I knew he was kind of phony. And the other ones they're not very good. Like, look at these horses closing behind him. They look like they're running in knots. They look awful. And it's not like they went 2 miles. It was a 1:16 race. You want these horses coming back, like going further? I don't think so.
I will say, if Dash Attack shows up somewhere that's muddy, especially if it's Oaklawn, I'll take Dash Attack then. That's the only time I'll take Dash Attack.
Yeah, that's fair.
I agree with you on everything else.
Yeah, that's fair. And if he had that kind of kick, he probably would have at least got second in this race. So it's obvious the mud really moves that horse up. And it makes sense for this pedigree.
Let's talk about a filly. Let's go to the Martha Washington because to close things out. This is a filly, Secret Oath, who you were very high on when she was going into her allowance race that she won that prepped her for this. and she goes off at 1-2 when she wasn't even the morning line favorite. But talk to me about Secret Oath and the Martha Washington, and where's she going forward?
Yeah, I love this horse. There's no doubt about it. I'm very excited. Absent-minded, the dam of this horse is a horse at Oaklawn that really kind of drove my passion for racing. She ran almost every time you would go. She'd be running. She'd be in the stakes races there. She won a lot of them at Oaklawn. She never could beat like the real good horses who come in. But she was honest, and so same owners, that had Absent-minded have Secret Oath. I was very excited. Really good allowance race, 2 back. Great workout in between, and I really was impressed that this horse was ridden along like the best horse and was 20 lengths the best. I mean, just kept her to the outside, stalked the pace. I remember we were talking, we were like, yeah, she doesn't look just fantastic at this point in the race for a 1-2 shot. And then, Luis just kind of asked once slightly and the race was over. I don't care who you're facing. When you round the turn and it's over, you have a lot of talent. And by the way, that's a multiple stakes winner out there in front and optionality for Steve Asmussen. And Secret Oath just zoomed right by him. This is a serious horse. We'll see. I'm skeptical they keep this horse on the Oaks Trail. We could see this horse on the Derby Trail, maybe.
I would love to see, you were talking about Secret Oath on we did a full analysis, so if you want more of that, just kind of like we did for Forbidden Kingdom, we'll have that up at the YouTube channel too, talking about Secret Oath. You talked about in that one, Aaron, maybe they go Arkansas Derby. What if they go Rebel? Because with the Rebel, it's a 50-pointer. They can try her out, and if she's good enough, to earn enough points, they keep trying. But then if she's not, then you can fall back on another Oaks prep that maybe even if you get second or third, you still have enough points to make it. But either way, you think Lucas is going to pick either the Rebel or the Arkansas Derby?
And again, I have no inside knowledge of this, and I could be completely wrong. But yeah, I think he'll go one or the other for sure. I think you'll see, like you said, you laid it out. One, Ray and Michael, I think you did on the live stream too. 1 Oaks prep, 1 Derby prep. That's my guess. The Rebel would make a ton of sense, in my opinion. Because of what you just laid out. If she runs well and she wins, well, then you can just give her an easy Derby prep in the fantasy. Okay? If she runs poor, it's like, well, scrap that. We'll go to the fantasy anyway. Where if you go in the Honeybee, which is the next one, then say you go to the Arkansas Derby and she gets beat and it's bad. Now you've got a bad taste in your mouth going into the Oaks. And I wouldn't want that because that still realistically is probably, that's the goal, right? I mean, that's where she fits probably the best. But I wouldn't want that poor effort then going into the Kentucky Oaks. So.
Well, it's certainly exciting whenever the coach, Wayne Lucas, has got somebody for us to be excited about. I remember when Bravazzo a few years ago on the Derby Trail was running, and he even, I would say she's much more of a higher ceiling than Bravazzo, but Bravazzo was fun because poor horse ran every other week for about a year and a half straight.
She seems to have more talent. Bravazzo was just like tough. He was like, get him out in front, and he's hard to pass. Like, he'll keep trying. This horse is like push button. And that's the scary thing about horses like this. Anytime you got a horse and they'll sit in fourth for you and then take the lead when you ask them to do it, that's dangerous. And that's when you get a horse that's tough to beat.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us. I think I'm just going to wrap things up here unless you got any other final thoughts here. Oh wait, final thoughts on this one. We can plug the show that you're doing later. But any other horse racing thoughts?
Yeah, you know what? Let's talk about this horse real quick. Emmanuel, who won a Sunday allowance at Tampa Bay Downs. It wasn't that great of a race, but I'm with Michael. He asked me this morning on Twitter, and I said, I've got Emmanuel number 3 after that race. I thought it was really impressive. So what happened? He took the lead at Tampa. They turned the corner, and this horse named Glider, who was a decent horse, won last time out for Mark Casse in a maiden special weight. Glider comes up to his inside, and for a split second, you're like, this is going to be a battle. They just did like that on Emmanuel, just one little push, and he just took off from Glider, just said no thanks, and ran away. Keep Emmanuel, keep your eyes on him. This is a horse that's going to be in a stakes next time out. And don't forget, Always Dreaming went to Tampa in an allowance race before then going and winning the Florida Derby and winning the Kentucky Derby. So don't think because that horse went to Tampa that he's not any good. Pletcher uses that for preps a lot.
Excuse me, kind of funny how he does that. Actually, if you want some more Emmanuel information, you want to talk more Emmanuel, guess who did a full in-depth preview on Emmanuel? Aaron Halterman did. We did it over at racingdudes.com. So make sure you check that. I'll screen share that here. Goddamn, light keeps falling off. I'm done. Show's almost over. It doesn't matter anymore. Let's take a look here.
Rough day.
Rough day. Listen, it's okay. Just rough day for lighting. Even when Aaron and I were recording earlier, the light kept falling off. So
the sun is like blaring on me, so I understand, Magic.
We're all over the place here. It's
trying
just,
to,
very all over the place. Hey, listen. Later today in 3 hours, so at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 Eastern, Dudes Who Bet Sports will be on, and Aaron Halterman and Papa Dude are going to be covering everything that happened this weekend in the NFL. Was it very exciting? Did much happen? I was too focused on Mike Somich.
Well, yeah. We may have a guest, and he may be the rant of the week. I have not confirmed, but we may have a guest that is a Chiefs fan that also works here at Racing Dudes. So he wants to be on. He's not sure he will be able to. So keep an eye on that. It might be the best Dudes Who Bet Sport rant ever, and we have some good ones. So we could have a guest, but anyway, even if we don't, we are going to talk about the 2 NFL games. And Papa Dude wants to talk about the Pegasus as well. So I think we'll talk a little Pegasus there as well, get his thoughts on the race.
So the screen sharing here, this is Aaron and I talking about Emmanuel from after he broke his maiden very impressively. That was the same weekend we had Emmanuel, we had Doppelganger, and Dean's List, who hasn't. Dean's List is either not returned or just hasn't done shit since he returned. Has he been back
Dean's
yet?
List returned and won.
He did? What did he win?
He won an allowance race. I'm pretty sure 2 or 3 weeks ago he won. And the other one we did for Fletcher, American Icon, remember him? He's entered Friday in an allowance race, the feature race at Gulfstream. So
is that the one that American Works is also in? Or Ironworks?
There's 3 Fletchers, I think, in that one.
Ironworks is another My Racehorse that they're very excited about. He won his debut.
Yes. So they're both in there. Let me read off that field for you real quick. Hold on. But yeah, Dean's List did come back to win. He faced and I can't remember who he beat. It was a really good race. He won by like that much. I had him singled, and it was a 5th race, the last race of pick 5. Had him singled. We were alive. Some bitch looked like he's gonna get beat, and he like re-rallied and won. It was fantastic. I don't think he's a 2-turn type though. After that, okay. This race is a really good race. The Friday Gulfstream race, like I said, had American Icon, very impressive on debut. Also has Ironworks, another horse, very impressive on debut for Fletcher, and Safi Joseph. No, that's not the one I'm thinking of. There's one other one in here that was good. I can't remember. Graphic Detail for Bill Mott, coming out of the Mucho Macho Man and now going back to allowance after a nice maiden win. That was one I was kind of excited to see as well. So there's some good ones in this. 1 mile, 1-turn mile at Gulfstream. Allowance, race 9 on Friday.
That's going to be exciting. And overall, Aaron texted me that we might have as many as 16 fantasy horses from the Racing Dudes Triple Crown League that's racing this weekend. So make sure you go to racingdudes.com, and even if you don't give a shit about our actual fantasy, the points and everything, it's still a really great thing to go back and check regularly, because you have, you got 10 different teams made up of guys who are all over the country covering this stuff or paying attention very closely. And so you might see somebody on John White's roster and go, I don't know who that horse is, but add it to your roster because the horse is probably going to be pretty damn good. So it's a useful tool for anybody who wants to follow the Derby Trail.
Yeah, it's 50 horses because each team has 10 teams, 50 horses, and then they're updated every day on what they're doing, or not every day, every week on what they're doing. So, if you don't care who's winning or losing, well, that's not what the article is really for. It's a massive update on the Derby horses. So, yeah, check it out.
Also, check out racingdudes.com, free picks, every race, every track around the country, racingdudes.com/sports. It was going to be a lot of fun stuff over there. What are you guys going to do that the NFL's done? We got 2 weeks, so you got the build-up for that. But then after that, what do you do?
I think we're just going to tell stories back and forth for a few months until football starts. So we're going to tell, do you believe in ghosts and stuff like that? The questions that we usually ask at the end of the show. We're going to just do it the whole show.
That was a good one. I'll have to come up with a few more, though. You're gonna burn through those ones pretty quick. So make sure you tune in 3 hours from now, or if you miss it, you can download it anywhere you get podcasts. Dudes Who Bet Sports. Make sure you go to youtube.com/racingdudes. subscribe to the YouTube channel. There's a little notification bell. If you hit that, it'll alert you every time we go live or we post a video. We've got a lot of stuff that's coming out. The YouTube channel is growing. It's growing faster than I think we even anticipated, which means we're going to put more stuff out there. So we'll be putting content out there. And, of course, March Madness. I'm sorry. It's still January. That's why my brain forgot about that.
No, Papa Dudes is big-time basketball. He's covering the NBA and NCAA basketball. Pretty hardcore. So, yeah, that'll be a big part of it. Hockey. We'll do a little hockey as well. Obviously, everybody here at the Racing Dudes loves hockey. Well, maybe not Jared, but the rest of us. So, yeah, that'll be a big part.
We'll get Jared to do it. Thank you, everybody, so much for following us again. They'll be live in about 3 hours. I'll be back later this week. Thursday for sure with Mike for the Magic Mike show. We'll see if we can fit in a special NAC show. So make sure you follow us on Twitter. I'm at Curtis Kalleward. Mike is at Somobomb 18, number 1, number 8. Aaron is at Racing_Dudes. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for joining us. And yeah. Oh, watch AEW. It's really good shit. Really good shit.
The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.